When I imagine a fight scene, I don't conceptualize one in my mind like I would a fictional setting or an antagonist for a story. I think of a specific fight scene that I've seen before, whether it be within a film, an animation, a game, even fights written in bare text I find memorable. That's because a fight scene is composed of multiple things, even at first glance. It requires two or more characters, a sequence, and often a conflict. In a way, an objectively good fight scene is worse than the sum of its parts. And this is why Omniman vs. Invincible is a good fight. A fight is usually composed of two great characters, good sequences, and a conflict. In this case, Omniman and Invincible, the fight throughout the city and into the mountain, and the conflict of Omniman trying to take over the Earth while Invincible is trying to stop him. Mark and Nolan, as I will refer to them from now on, are the perfect opponents for each other, considering their relationships, their values, and their goals. The relationship between them is very close. Scene after scene throughout the show, we've seen how Nolan mentors Mark on how to be a proper hero, how much they've shown to care for each other immensely, and with scenes like how Nolan practices how to tell the truth to Mark. Mark would die for this world, whereas Nolan would torch it to oblivion, as he's lived his life as a Viltrumite for over 1,000 years. Everything he experienced on this earth is practically 1% of his life. He practically keeps up the act of superhero just to stay under the radar. Mark has, however, grown up on Earth, only hearing about the Viltrumites from his father in his childhood. It's his home, and the idea of it being taken over or being destroyed is something he can't live with, so their goals conflict. Nolan wants to take the planet for the Viltrumite Empire with Mark's help, and Mark wants to protect the planet from Nolan, so they then clash. The sequence is what I describe as the action of the fight. There's no choreography here. It's no Red Hood versus Batman, no Lee versus Gaara, no Cell versus Goku, but for what it lacks in choreography, it has in pure, unbridled destruction. And it plays into that too. Nolan is a force of sheer power, too much for Mark to handle. He's faster, stronger, more durable, more experienced, more smarter. He pretty much drives the fight wherever he chooses, and he drives it right through populated areas, where hundreds and thousands of innocents die. Part of Omniman's beliefs is that humans or anything, not Viltrumite or weaker for that matter, has no value. So he shows that by causing collateral damage and getting hundreds of innocents killed. Whether it be through large buildings, cruise liners, or even large trains, he's not only aims to beat Mark physically, but mentally, showing Mark why his values have no meaning to the greater universe beyond just Earth. However, despite the fact that Mark is completely powerless to do anything and is constantly getting ragdolled throughout the fight, he's incredibly mentally resilient. This shows by the near end of the fight, where Invincible is physically unable to do anything due to his grievous injuries. Effectively, he's been defeated physically, so the fight in a sense still continues, but it converts from a physical one to a moral and emotional one, and Mark wins. When asked,
"What will you have after 500 years?"
You, Dad. I still have you.
throughout the show, we've been shown a decent amount of the bond between our hero and our villain. Even amongst the fight and the verbal confrontation beforehand shows their bond. Even said bond is laced with our villain's goals. Because of this bond that they share, the simple exchange ends the fight, with Nolan leaving in what presumably is emotional turmoil. Mark has won. He's successfully defended the planet from Nolan through uncommon and unconventional means, and it's the perfect cap-off to this overall amazing fight.